All right. Hello or good evening, good people. I was having some technical difficulties, and it still seems like I'm having technical difficulties with TikTok. So we do have TikTok. Everybody from TikTok on here tonight. My God, what a time I have with um, technology. So I'm on here tonight, and we're starting a series. I think this is going to be a 3 or 4 part series, depending on how well people receive it and what's understood through this, and what we can do to help people out dealing with these issues. Um, the subjects that I'm going to be talking about is really, really tough. It's touchy. So if you're getting triggered or you're having any traumatic experiences, any flashbacks, disassociating, please, 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 um, just take your time. You can tune out. I am going to have some resources in the comment section later on, but I can do a quick breathing exercise with you guys. I don't think I have too much language in here that may put somebody in a bad place. That's not what I'm here for. So hopefully today's topic, the part one is physical abuse. And we're looking through physical abuse through the eyes and lenses of children, because children do grow up to be adults, because I was once a child, right? So we're doing that tonight, physical abuse. It's a little light definition, some words and some information about what child abuse is and how it impacts your mental health if it's untreated, if you're not talking about those things of your past. So we'll be discussing that this evening. But before I get into my topic, I did put up there today um, my check-in. No, baby. Oh, baby. It's been something. Um, Anybody in Philadelphia right now, if you're in Philadelphia, the weather here has been horrible. Not just the snow, but it's been freezing cold. The temperatures have been below freezing for like almost 2-3 weeks. We had some, warmth today to try to melt the snow, but I know somebody in Philadelphia, it can be 9 or 10 houses on the block. 8 of those houses, the pipes bust, or our pipes bust yesterday. So I put my mood check that I was really having one of these days. Couldn't believe it. Been living here since 2007. My kids were little babies then. Pipes never busted. And I put the yellow sign. I'm just, I'm over it. I'm over it. I'm over it. I'm over it. I'm over this winter. But let's go with our mood check today. Let's see where everybody else is, just not besides me. So if you're doing great, this is a red heart, emoji heart. If you're doing great, I do this at every opening of my live. If you're doing great, give me some red emoji hearts. If you're doing great, give me some red emoji hearts. If you are doing okay, this is blue. This is not purple. It's going to show up purple on some screens. If you're doing okay, throw up some blue emoji hearts. If things are tough and you're struggling, throw up some green emoji hearts. Again, people DM me, message me however you want. If you want to talk about things and just run some things by me, I can give you some resources. I can connect you maybe with some resources that can help you. So if you're things are tough and you're struggling, put up the green emoji hearts. This is purple. This is the purple one. If you're having a hard time and wouldn't mind if someone was to reach out to you, put up the purple emoji hearts again. I read my DMs. I read my emails every single day. So if you want to talk, let me know. If you're having a hard time and you wouldn't mind if somebody was to reach out to you, put that purple emoji heart up there. Purple. Okay, this is correct. If you're in a really dark place, this is emergent. Send me a shout out. This is a broken emoji heart. I will get you connected with a crisis counselor immediately. Just call 988. It's a national hotline. Crisis counselor will be there, talk to you, work you through if you're in a really dark place. Just trying to make sure I'm keeping them together, and I'm not. I bounced. So after okay, after the blue. This is a yellow emoji heart. If you're feeling it's like bar, whatever. Put up the yellow emoji heart. Hey, glow, glow. What's going on, lady? Now I'm on please. If you're having some harmony and balance in your life, this is the pink emoji heart. Throw that emoji heart up there if you're having some harmony, balance. I did post today that I am already on my third book. Thank you, Lord. I'm out of the writer's block. I was just typing away. I got myself going. I did my dedication to the book. I think I did my book's design. I did my preface to the book. I got my chapters all, done all up. It's coming together, honey. It's coming together. Thank you, Lord. He told me that I work best under stress and duress. I don't like it, but my mind gets to flowing. My mind gets to flowing. So it's coming. It's coming. Book number 3 is coming. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. If you're feeling optimistic and uplifting, put the orange emoji heart up there. If you're feeling optimistic and uplifting, put the orange emoji heart up there. If you did minimum today, maybe none at all, you had some mixed feelings, you just pushed your way through, put those white emoji hearts up there. Minimum mixed emotions, put the white emoji hearts up there. Where my girl Miss Carla at? You're not on here yet, Miss Carla. Where's Miss Carla at? She usually throw me some gray emoji hearts. If you're feeling cool and self-restraint with a sprinkle of some humbleness, you all need some humbleness, right? A sprinkle of some humbleness, put those gray emoji hearts up there. This is light blue if you're feeling relaxed and friendly. Put the light blue emoji hearts up there. If you're feeling relaxed and friendly, put the light blue emoji hearts up there. Pay more attention to the purple or the black heart, some sadness and anger, because sometimes we don't like to deal with either one of those emotions or feelings. We don't want to feel sad. We don't want to, well, some people do want to feel angry, but it's the way how you process that anger. So if you're having some sadness and anger going on, put up them black emoji hearts. If you've been frustrated today, this is the flaming heart. The flaming heart. Some frustration. Somebody got pivoting on your nerves. Put up the flaming emoji heart. Now, I don't know how I left out my baby, which is if you're having a day like today like this. Hey, Miss Carla, there she is. I was having this day. Put up those brown emoji hearts, and I said we're adults, and even kids have days like this. I was having a day like this. A pipes bust. Listen, Philly. And then my bestie called me, it's 75 degrees down here. I think that's her notice for saying, Kimball, you need to come down here immediately. And trust me, I'm coming. I'm coming. So good evening, everybody. I do not want to be amongst you for a long time. This show is usually an hour and a half. There's a lot of material I have here. I was just doing my nerd thing when I was getting this thing together. Again, when I say doing my nerd thing, I didn't want to re-traumatize anybody, but I wanted to give some education about what physical abuse looks like in childhood, then what it looks like in adulthood. When you go to adulthood, that's called domestic violence. You've already done a show on that. These particular series is talking about the unheard cries, living with hidden scars. There's so many adults that's not being treated for their trauma. They go on through life. They have relationships. They have families. They get jobs. They go on vacations. But that untreated trauma can hit you as soon as you can turn away. There's a lot of depression. There's a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of undiagnosed adults in America. So if we get to the digging into that, silent wounds. Some people say, well, I've been through some things and I'm all right. You're really not. She said Miss Carla said she's trying to find those great emoji hearts. Hey, honey. So if you don't deal with it or you don't process it, you don't talk about it, they come up. They come up in how you relate to others. They come up in how you trust others. They come up in how you connect with others. They come up in your worldview of the world. It comes up. And sometimes when it's untreated, you'll have those family members and friends and say, oh, that's how Kenny is. Don't worry about him. Or that's how Sue is. She always off the chain like that when, something happens and something that's not going her way. It's 2026. We need to learn how to deal with our mental health, our mental well-being, and take those things from the past. If you sweep them under the rug, or if you don't want to think about them, try to bring it up. Because keeping the hurt in, keeping the pain in, not recognizing that you have some issues, some problems, is not helping you. And I was watching 2819. I love me some Pastor Philip Anthony. I was watching his one of his things on YouTube, and he said something so profound. He said, anything that you bury alive, you're going to have to deal with it. If you don't deal with it in the physical, you're going to deal with it in the spiritual. You're wrestling with things. There's strongholds on you. Come on now, people. I know, because I dealt with something for 15 years and it didn't feel comfortable. I didn't like it. I got where I'm at right now by going to therapy, by understanding my process, by letting go of some things, by forgiving people. Now, in that 15 years, don't tell me that I was a beast. I hurt people. I said things out my mouth. I did things. But God is a redeemer. He forgave me for those things. I was able to go back and forgive people as well. Enough about me. Let me get off my soapbox. So let's deal with this part one called the physical abuse. Now, physical abuse is defined as any intentional act of causing injury or trauma to another person through bodily contact. This is a deliberate act of force that results in harm, injury, or again, trauma to a victim's body. So I'm just going to break it down. They say here that, the behaviors can include hitting, slapping, punching, choking, shoving, physical restraints, inappropriate of using drugs. If you're trying to give somebody drugs to keep them from going, leaving, or staying, or being a sex slave to you, that is a form of abuse. But the federal definition of abuse, which I thought was, outstanding, is a violent behavior by one person towards another person that results in substantial bodily injury. Legally, abuse is defined when someone causes physical harm as an act that causes you pain or injury, or that would cause a reasonable person to suffer pain or injury. And I just strictly put that a parent or a caregiver to a child, adolescent, or vulnerable adult can be the person that's being abused. And with being abused, it's having control and power over someone else. It's having control and power over someone else. How you guys doing out there in TikTok? My name is Kimball Evans. You're on the Trap Lounge, and I'm a trap therapist. Here we talk about lots of different topics. You've probably seen if I posted my midweek check-in every Wednesday with the little emoji hearts on there. Thank you guys for joining me this evening. I'm on here every Wednesday at 8:30. I have YouTube to my left, I have Facebook to my right, and I have my other individual page right in front of me. So guys, plug in, join in, talk back to me. If you want to ask questions, by all means do so. Physical abuse is profoundly, it damages your mental health. Again, it causes severe anxiety, depression, PTSD, which is post traumatic stress disorder, leading to low self esteem, helplessness, isolation, substance abuse, eating disorders, and difficulty trusting or forming relationships, with the effects often lingering long after your injuries heal. Broken arm, burn, scar, bruise, welt, long after these things heal, it happens. Who was this giving me some cue? I'm sorry. Is that Miss Carla? A piece of my mental journey came in place yesterday when I was hearing what was said before I got married. That piece was valuable to the light at the end of the tunnel. I shed some tears, called on God to hear me. Hunt, listen. That's the part that we need to understand. That's the part. Crying, shedding those tears, it helps. Even though we feel so bad, it's a form of getting what's in you out. So kudos, Miss Carter, for shedding those tears. I didn't shed tears yesterday. I kind of grinded my teeth again because I was in a different place. I just told my husband when I called him yesterday, thank God our pipes didn't bust yet. And what happens, like 2 hours later, he's calling me like, oh my God, I just heard all this noise. And I'm like, okay, what happened? The pipes bust. I was angry. I was livid. Like, what else can happen? But I was able to process that. And then my mom was like, listen, honey, we got to get those pipes fixed like ASAP. Because I can't live without no water. Just can't do it. All right. So you can have these bruises, these scars, things happening to you. And once you get, you can be from a toddler to a child, from an infant. There was on the news this evening. I hope the baby is okay. 3-month-old baby got stabbed by the father. And then the father threw the baby in the snow. The child is at CHOP now. The child did go under some surgery. But imagine, and this baby's only 3 months. Don't think this baby's not going to remember what happened. Don't think it. You have children, babies sitting in front of you and you're arguing with your spouse or your husband, and there's so much going on. You don't think that child remembers? We all remember things. It comes back at certain times. That child gets older, 5, 6 years old, and they don't like when someone's raising their voice. They stiffen up. They place themselves in a safe place like a corner, or they run. Physical abuse can alter brain function, causing emotional dysregulation, flashback, and a distorted sense of making survivors feel perpetually unsafe or worthless. I just said that. That was just said. So indicators of physical abuse is unexplained bruises, welts, cuts, abrasions, unexplained burns, fractures, or disclosures. You can have neglect as abuse as well as physical abuse as well. Neglect is physical and emotional failure to provide the necessary physical or emotional support and love and attention to a child, making that child feel like they're unseen or unsafe. Now, I'm going to get back to these burns. The indicators of physical abuse is burns. I have, and I'm 48 years old, right? I have a burn on my, probably can't see it, it's there. A burn on my arm here, my right arm, and I believe I have a burn on my foot. I don't know how they got on my body. When I was young, I used to ask my mom about it once I started identifying, like, Mom, why I got a burn on my hand? I didn't burn myself. I don't know if I burnt myself. And my mom told me that my brother burnt me with the iron. Now, my brother, this is my big brother, he don't remember anything. I still be looking at them side eye like, don't know why I got burnt with an iron. But that's an indicator. Any marks, bruises, abrasions, unexplained marks, bruises, or abrasions is a sign of physical abuse. Another sign of physical abuse is witnessing violence and exposure, again, to domestic violence between caregivers, or you can have community violence like shootings, which creates intense fear and insecurities. We had a lot of those. We see them on TV, the mass shootings in the malls, mass shootings at schools, mass shootings at clubs. These are all things that you're exposed to. You can have a group of guys sitting on a corner, young or old, doesn't matter, and somebody comes by and shoots somebody else. That person, even though they may have not been the victim, they have post-traumatic stress disorder. So many young people call and say, especially around the summertime and before school starts, the young guys, I just witnessed my friend die in my arms. That's I can't tell you how many times I've had, when I was doing outpatient services, I had young guys come in my office and said, one guy, I knew he was in a gang. He had the numbers written on his knuckles, on side of his hand, and the back of his neck. Said it was his basketball number. Tell that to your mom. I know better. But he said to die young is to be a legend. And he was 16, 17. So I asked him what was young. 27. So you're 16, 17. You only got 10 more years to live, you telling me? Because all his homies were getting killed. Family dysfunction and instability. They're living with parents that have mental illness, that has substance abuse, parents that may have, sudden suicide, loss of a parent, death, divorce, or imprisonment. It impacts and affects a child's mental health. Children do want stability. No matter what you see today, when you're watching the lawlessness of these children, they want security, they want stability in the home. There's rules has to be set in the home. Boundaries have to be set in the home. If you don't learn these things when you're young, when you get older, you become lawlessness or you become defiant. And it's hard to teach somebody what rules are and consequences are when they get older. Very difficult. Bullying, severe or persistent systematic trauma, race-based trauma from discrimination. We're dealing with that today, people. From discrimination and racism. Hey, Mama T, we also have complex trauma, multiple traumatic events over time, often intertwined with ongoing abuse. These kids are seeing a lot going on in the world. I remember when I first got on social media and I was like actively on there, I was a blogger, and I kept seeing a lot of car pileups or car accidents, and they were getting more gruesome and gruesome and gruesome. There was an accident where somebody was ejected from the car and they were outside of the car on a 10-pound. And I'm like, why would you be showing this? Now, we know we got video games. And I know the most popular video game when I was into the games was, what's that video game? Where you have to, when you're robbing people or stealing cars, you get points. Now they have a lot of video games out with the ops on there. You're in the military, you're in the Marines, and you're going around and you're shooting and killing people. It desensitizes your children to when they have a real gun and they shoot their stuff. They shoot their stuff or they shoot their friend. Unresolved childhood trauma profoundly affects your adulthood. Again, if you don't think it happens, it happens. It manifests as emotional dysregulation, Again, we're going to talk about the anxiety, the depression, and those mood swings. How somebody can go from 0 to 1,000 within seconds, and you can't get them to calm down. It affects relationships. You'll have difficulties with trust issues, unstable attachments, again, low self-esteem, physical health problems like chronic pain, fatigue, and a weakened immune system. When things are unresolved, it has an effect on your body, on your physical. You guys already know, I always say we're a whole system. We're made up of the physical, the mental and emotional, and the spiritual. It's a whole system. If your physical body breaks down, your emotional is gonna come next. If you have let's just say general, you have diabetes. You're diabetic. You can't get the diabetes under control. So you went from taking metformin to now you're on insulin. Then you got to do a what do they call it? A scale. You know, you have to take your blood sugar, and then you have to see how much your blood sugar was, and be on a sliding scale to see how much insulin you may need in between a day. Doing that for a prolonged period of time, people get tired of sticking their fingers because it hurts. People get tired of, having to give themselves an injection shot. Sometimes it affects the way they have to maneuver and function in their everyday life. That may cause depression. I don't feel like keep going through this, in my life. I'm this certain age. I can't regulate everything, and the doctor's telling me all these things and what I should do and what I should not. That can cause depression. And you'll figure out, like, why me? Why I'm going through this? So it affects your physical, then your mental. And then spiritually, you can just be like, well, why did God give me diabetes? I'm praying for my health to be, heal me, God, make me, get me better. Trauma alters brain development. Now, I didn't dig into the neuroscience that much, guys. I would have loved to. I have a book that I'm going to try to pull out and read. I'm on book number 2. It's the second month. I done read 2 books. I'm trying to keep up with a book a month, or at least the little ones that I have, to read at least 2 thin books and a big book, whatever one I pull out every month. So this is the second of the month. I'm on book. I done read book 2. But trauma alters brain development and your stress response. It increases the likelihood that you may have PTSD or substance abuse, because trauma, you want to try to, desensitize yourself to the pain. You want to numb yourself. You can do that by either sleeping all day, not doing anything, being less motivated, or substance use, which will turn into substance abuse. And it'll have also the chronic illness, like I was just talking about, diabetes, heart disease, and this all impacts your quality of life. So again, the unresolved trauma from your childhood, we're talking about the physical abuse. Now, it was a part in here where I was talking about emotional dysregulation. That boils down to very intense mood swings, anger, numbness, or feeling disconnected from your emotions at all. Sometimes you ask kids, well, what's wrong with you? They can't answer you. They don't know. And sometimes you'll ask an adult that, like, what's your deal? What's bothering you today? Or my husband always asks me, is you all right? I'm like, I'm all right. What you talking about? How you is? But that disconnect from your emotions, you don't want to feel anything, because all you're feeling is pain, shame, guilt, sadness. You don't want to feel those things. And when that happens, here comes avoidance creeping up on you. You're avoiding places, you're avoiding people, you're still avoiding your emotions, and it triggers those traumatic memories. The things that happen at 5, the things that happen at 7, the things that happen at 13, the things that happen at 16. Even though you went through life, and people in society, our society tells us to keep it pushing. Now, of course, you'll get the stuff from school. Oh, let them take all the time they need, but let your child be out for too long. It's a problem. Us as adults, if something happens and we need to take time off of work, you can take FMLA. But after your time is up, don't be out too long. How many days do they give you for grieving your immediate family members? They give you 3. Listen, honey, 2023 and 2024, I had 2 people in 2020. You had 2 people in 2023 and 2 people in 2024 passed, and they were all immediate family members. My great uncle, then my father, then my grandmother, and then my mother. And they gave me 3 days off. God kept me. Okay? God kept me. There's a lot of work doing that, but God kept me. So those when they say grieve and your process, it's lifelong. Don't let nobody tell you it's nothing different. It's lifelong. The hurt and them not physically being here, it may get easier, but it's lifelong. The same thing with the healing process. It's lifelong. Don't let nobody tell you how to grieve and process your grief. And don't let nobody tell you how to heal and process your healing process. It's a lifelong process. Because things happen to us in between those times of coping and trying to process what happened in the past and what's now presented to us in the present. So unresolved childhood trauma, you get poor coping skills, the inability to have stress or conflict resolution be effective. You can't talk, you can't communicate, you can't interact with certain people. You might have that feeling that all men are the same and all women just want because you had a bad mom or a bad dad. Good evening, Van. How are you? How are you? Now, chronic stress from trauma can impact areas in the brain that are responsible for emotion regulations, learning, and memory. Hello. This is just chronic stress. And if you don't think these kids are stressed out, my grandma used to tell us, y'all had no problems. Y'all not grown yet. I don't want grown folk problems. I didn't need to pay no bills. But we did have problems. I was bullied in school. I had problems. Even though I knew how to protect myself, I still was bullied in school from elementary all the way up to high school. That's chronic stress. You going to school to try to learn and somebody picking with you. And now, with our children now, they leave the school and they're getting bullied on online. And trolls are coming in and doing their little dances with them. It's so much. I know from our past to their past, they have so much on them. We need to pay attention to our children, and especially our young ones. Because I see a lot of people just giving the little babies. They crying, and what the mom or dad do, just go ahead and give them the phone. Here's the phone. Here's the phone. That's not going to solve a problem when you have to sit down with your child and try to figure out and actually see what's bothering them. They clam up because what they're seeing on the social media is not what you're telling them and not how they're feeling. Don't tell anybody. Oh, I get bullied too. It's okay. Now you see 988 all over in movie theaters before a movie start, at bus stops. When you're pumping your gas, you'll hear it on there's someone's coming on. Hey, if you're having any mental health crisis or you're thinking about suicide, call 988. It's everywhere now. It's national. Long-term outcomes for untreated trauma. It can hinder your academic achievements. So if you're trying to figure out why your kid in school, they can't focus, they can't concentrate, again, people, It's not ADHD. It's not that they can't sit down. Figure out the three main things first. Is it something physical? Maybe they can't see. Maybe they need glasses. Have they had a hearing test? Don't always go to what the teacher's saying. They can't sit down. They can't pay attention. They can't concentrate. It's ADHD. No. Mm-mm. If they're defiant in class, it's ODD. It's oppositional defiance disorder. No, because they do that at home. They sit down and they listen at home. What's it about you? Don't be quick to get a label for your child. Figure out what's going on with them. And it starts by you communicating with your kids every single day, checking in with them. So long-term outcomes of untreated trauma can hinder academics achievement. It can hinder your employment and your overall life quality. It can create a cycle of trauma with individuals often repeating unhealthy patterns without intervention. If a young man is getting beat by his father, tore down by his father, what's going to happen to that young man? He's not going to like men. Authority with men. So if he's on the football team and the coach get on him about something, he's going to blow his top. If he gets in trouble with the police, he's blowing his top. Signs of unheeded or unhealed childhood trauma include, again, I'm repeating these things so you can understand that it's real. Chronic anxiety, worrying. You worry. Things are always on your mind. I had a young lady, she calls every now and then. She has her own business. She walks dogs. But she feels so unworthy from her family. She's kind of like the middle child, but she's not the youngest nor the oldest. She's just stuck in between. She feels unworthy. Depression. She feels less than. She don't feel like she can manage. I told her, maybe you feel like you're the black sheep. And she said, yeah. I said, well, Jesus came back for that one. Came back for that one. Unhealed trauma can cause sleep disturbances. You can't get a peaceful, restful night of sleep. Tossing and turning. When you wake up in the morning, you don't feel fully rested. You're cranky. You're frustrated. We all need 7 to 8 hours of sleep. I get me 10. Trust me, I get me 10 hours. Once I'm done here, I get in it, go take my shower, and I'm in the bed. As soon as my head hit the pillow, God tell you, ask my husband, I'm out. I get my rest. Get my rest. I have to stay cognitively alert for the job that I do. I get my rest. It's imperative that you get sleep to rest your body and rest your mind. That person will be constantly on edge, hypervigilant. He'd always on the swivel. You ain't trusting nothing that's in front of you, nothing that's in back of you. How can you live like that? And this is as a child. Relationship difficulties, trouble trusting or forming secure bonds. I hear a lot of women say that I don't have a lot of female friends because they didn't have a good relationship with their mother. It stems from somewhere, trust me, guys. I had a relationship with my mom, but she wasn't nurturing. I got the toughness from my mother. She toughened me up. She said, listen, life is hard. When they throw you something, you better throw it back or duck. My mother did not play. She would say, I didn't raise no punks in this house. I'm like, oh, yeah. Do I want to handle my mom or do I want to go out there and handle that? Because I don't want to handle my mom. So I have relationship with women, but not the young women. I go for the older women, the wise women that can nurture me, that can pour into me, kind of like a mother figure. So when you the physical abuse, even though it's physical, you have difficulty trusting. And as a child, nurture in nature, the first thing you do is I can trust this person to take care of me, feed me when I'm hungry, hold me or carry me on when I'm sick, and change me and provide for me when I'm wet. That's the basics of when you're a child. If they don't have that as a child, they don't feel secure, they're going to have problems trusting people, problems with relationships. There's going to be some intimacy issues or a lot of repeated unhealthy patterns. A destructive behavior, a lot of men, little boys, they kick stuff, they punch stuff, they slam doors, they ball their fists up, their hormone is different than our hormone. That pent up anger, remember, I always go back to the balloon. I don't feel like digging for one right now. I'll do it later. But imagine, hey, Pastor James, imagine having anger and you never talk about what happened, who made you angry, what was the situation, process it. Either there's an apology or there's going to be some conflict resolution to it. Oh, no, you're not. And you just keep that there. Now, that person made you angry. You never talked about it. It never got resolved. And you're now going through the next day. And, you had a good day. And then you're going through the next day. You had a good day. And then you're going through the next day. You had a good day. And then you see this person. You're like, oh, my goodness, this person. You think about whatever they've done 3 or 4 days ago, and it comes back, pop back up like it was the day that it exactly happened. And for children that can't express it, they hold it. And they will hold on to it until they can figure out how to express it. And what boys is destruction. And as you get older, it's substance abuse or eating disorders, risky sexual activity, or self-harm. Now, why it happens, why does childhood trauma, why does the rewiring of the brain and the neural system creating survival modes, why does this happen? Why do you think this? Because it persists into adulthood. If you never, a lot of parents don't want to take their child to see a psychiatrist or a doctor. And it's nothing wrong with their child. And we say, okay, you're not giving consent, that's perfectly fine. But take them to their primary care doctor, because their primary care doctor can talk to you about maybe some possibilities that you can't understand from us. If the child is not being treated, now that child, little John, now is John. He's never dealt with the anger, the feelings of worthlessness, being talked down and being degraded in his life. He's never dealt with it. He's never dealt with it. John can be a great basketball player, a great writer, a great musician. But if somebody makes John mad, he's going from 0 to 1,000. And in his adulthood, he has learned to survive. Remember, that is my Nike logo, from surviving to living. If you haven't processed trauma, you haven't processed abuse, if you haven't processed hurt, you haven't processed shame, you haven't processed feeling unworthy, unloved, you're just surviving in life. It's right there in black and white. Childhood trauma rewires the brain and the nervous system, creating survivor modes that persist into adulthood, affecting how you process emotions and handle stress. And it relates to the whole entire world, how you see the world, how you view people in the world. This often involves trauma-informed therapeutics. You know, you have to go to therapy for it when you're ready. I tell people, listen, you can't force somebody into treatment. Just can't. Oh, that's delicious. It's not going to work. It's absolutely not going to work if you're forcing somebody into treatment. But children, they learn from us. They soak things up. They are sponges. When I used to be an outpatient, I would tell the mom, you're in the storm right now. It's not going to get worse before it gets better because they're used to that behavior. Get down to your child's eye level. Talk to them in a good tone. I understand you're going through something, especially when they're having them tantrums. Beating them is not going to help them. It's not. That's just going to make them more angry. That's just going to let them know that you don't understand how they feel. And they're going to have resentment towards you when they're growing up. Sort different. Remember, I had my daughter on here, my oldest daughter on here. She had a son when she was young. And my daughter told me, Mom, you're not going to tell me how to raise my son. I still, to this day, it tastes sour in my mouth when I say that. Because parenting doesn't come with a handbook, but I thought I did the best I could with my girls. My son. But my daughter has never physically hit my grandson at all. Now, he ain't perfect. He's done some things that I would have swatted him. Matter of fact, I did swat him one time. He was maybe 4 or 5. We were taking him to get his haircut, and he didn't want to go. He didn't want to go get a haircut. I'm like, you're not going me looking like any kind of way. And he flipped out, and I tapped him on the leg real hard. Listen, he went to his great aunt house, his great aunt Kim house, and never wanted to come back. Never wanted to come back. He messed up a project in school. This is before he went to private school. And his teacher called. And they were living with me at the time. And my daughter just sat and looked in his face and said, do you understand what's going on and what I'm about to say and what's going to happen? She said, shake your head, yes or no, if you understand. He shook his head. She let him know what the teacher called her and told her what was going to be the consequences. And did he understand the consequences? And then she told him what she was expecting from him with his academics moving forward. You would have thought this girl took his head off. My grandson was in her face crying. And I was like, oh shit, she okay. That's the coolest thing I've ever seen. And my grandson is much, much bigger than my daughter. He's almost taller than me now. I'm 5'9". My daughter's really, is a thin person. She's never laid her hands on this boy. So it showed me the way I was raised. Because they got the rod and the staff. The rod and the staff. How I was raised was not exactly right. And when you going through something, when you get older, you always think in your mind, I'm never going to do what my mom or my dad or my grandmother did to me. But it's a taught behavior. It's a learned behavior. Every single person in my family, when we get into an argument, our voices, or we start yelling. We start yelling. That's how we communicate. We start yelling. It's a yelling match back and forth. Because that's what my grandmother did. We were raised by my grandmother. But with my kids, we're not going to yell because I can't hear you. You can't hear me. And ain't nothing getting done. I don't like the yelling. I don't even like to argue. If you ain't sitting there with me saying this is what happened, this is a solution, what do you think about it? Your turn. I ain't talking to you. I ain't arguing this in 2026. There's no arguing in 2026. Not with me. Not with grown folk. And I'm most definitely not arguing with children. Communication helps. Let me see, because it is 9:30. Lord. All right, I went over long-term effects. All right, let's go over. I went through self-destructive behaviors. The last thing I want to talk about here is difficulty with boundaries. Yeah, that'll wrap it up a little bit. So, if there's abuse, the connections with people are not so great. That person, as they get older, they go against the grain. They're not rocking with what the world is rocking with. They're going against the grain. They're odd. They're peculiar in a different type of way because they have difficulty with boundaries. They either have boundaries or they're really rigid and extreme with their boundaries. It's either or, overly rigid or extremely preposterous with your boundaries. It's either or. It's no in between. Overly rigid boundaries are inflexible. It's a wall like the fences that prioritize protection over connection. I'm going to protect me before I trust anybody else. That's a defense mechanism. It often causes isolation, loneliness, and strained relationships. It's my way or the highway. My grandma say that all the time. It's my way or the highway. These boundaries are frequently used to avoid rejection or control. And you want to control your environment because when you was at home, you didn't have a say in anything. I know when my kids got older, you want to give kids the privacy. Because I need privacy. So when you're in the shower, the door is closed in the bathroom. When you're room and you just came from the shower, your door is closed so you can get dressed. That's your privacy. But if I come to your door and your door is locking and you ain't opening your door, now we got a problem. So when it happened in my house when my kids were younger, I took the hinges off the door. Now you ain't got nothing off the door. Until we can understand each other, you can understand boundaries. I'm going to give you your privacy. You allow that. But when I'm asking you to open your door and you don't want to open your door, it's a problem. What's in there that I can't see? Remember, some people build bombs in their houses. They're doing destruction in the houses. They're online talking to people that they shouldn't be talking to in your house. A lot of people of color, I'm not even going to say African American, a lot of people of color, you got your boys selling drugs and having guns in your house and you don't even know. Oh, I felt that. These boundaries are frequently used again to avoid rejection or control the environment. They have surface level relationships, maintaining shallow connections, and they rarely share personal information about themselves. I know a couple of people like that. They may check in, they may see, oh, hey, how you doing? What's going on? I'm fine. How are you? And they out. They out. There's stagnant growth and resisting any new experiences that challenge or establish a good comfort zone for them. They lack support and have difficulty for accepting help from others. And this is because, again, they want to simply protect themselves. Remember, it said they prioritize protection over connection. Extremely prosperous boundaries are weak or preamble personal limits that allow emotions and energy and information to flow too freely. They are friendly. They are people pleasers. Those are the people that lack confidence, have low self-esteem back in the day. Maybe they got teased a lot. Maybe they got bullied a lot. They want friends. I couldn't believe when social media started allowing people to buy likes. And you had people buying likes. That leads to emotional exhaustion. People pleasing. People are never satisfied no matter what you do. They're never satisfied. There's a codependency, a loss of self. They call it being too needy. These are the people that struggle to say no. They overshare and they prioritize other needs over their own, frequently resulting in burnout, resentment, and fear of rejection. I used to be afraid to tell people no. Because if I told them no, they wouldn't need me anymore. And I always said, well, I'm going to be there. 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 No matter what, I'm going to be. I still say that. I still try to keep that because when I needed someone, no one was there. And I know how that felt. So I never used to tell people no. Kimball, can I borrow some money? Sure. Kimball, could you take me here? Sure. Kimball, I need that? Sure. Kimball, can I get that? Sure. Kimball, can I move with you? Sure. Really? Sure. Come on, come live with me. Having a problem? Sure. You and your kids, come on. I'm gonna make a way. Sure. Let me borrow your car. Sure. And so one day I was like, I am being manipulated by family and friends and my husband. I was having a problem with a neighbor on this block, and I know some people, if my sister was on here, she would probably tell you, yeah, my niece was on here, yeah, I was having a problem with the neighbor on my block. I was watching my grandson for my daughter, so it's just me and him, and we in here playing cards, and I hear something out front, and I go out to the front, and my car is dented in on the driver's side, and there's a guy and a girl there wrestling on it, and I'm like, yo, what y'all doing? And they like, once they got themselves together, I guess they figure out that the whole block is watching them fight. And I'm like, y'all just did it in my car. Two people that was fighting didn't say anything. I guess the friend at the side that was watching them said, that ain't your car. Yeah, that's my car. I'm telling you, that's my car. Could y'all get up off my car? It's a dent in my car. These two young ladies wanted to fight me because they dented my car. I wasn't quite yet healed, y'all. I wasn't. I was so angry. I was still an angry person. But my grandson never seen that side of me. So I'm calling everybody. I'm calling my sister. I'm calling my twin sister. I'm calling my niece. I'm calling my daughters. I'm calling and no one could come. No one could come. I got 5 minutes left on the clock. No one could come. No one could come. And I said, I don't need you to help me tear these two chicks up. I got them. I just need you to keep my grandson in the house and watch him. So he don't see me act a plum fool out here. I think I put it on social media and my son called me. Mom, what's going on? You know my mom don't drive. Let us what's going on with TikTok? Let me see if she can come down here on the bus. Oh, I don't need your mom to come down here on the bus. I'm just waiting for somebody to come. So long story short, my sister husbands come and my niece come. And they like, well, where's the girls at? I said, they come around. They're around here somewhere. Girl come back, and I'm like, oh, you was talking all that. Long story short, I tore this girl up, y'all, because she walked the girlfriend to the bus stop. She was protecting myself in my mind, right? What is going on here? Hello? Hello? I don't know what's going on with TikTok. I'm sorry. All right. So where was I at? The extremely prosperous boundaries. You lack boundaries at all. You can't say no. You're a people pleaser, but it'll burn you out quickly. It'll burn you out quickly. Now these are things that happen. These are symptoms that happen with both. There's poor limits and inability to set boundaries. Again, I'll say no to a request. Okay. Vulnerability and a higher likelihood of accepting mistreatment or disrespect. And that's why I guess people don't figure. I can say people, there's certain people don't understand that I don't tolerate disrespect. I don't tolerate it. Don't come this way with it. I don't tolerate disrespect, and I don't tolerate lying. If you're an adult, what are you lying for? You're not going to get a beat, and you're not going to be on punishment. There might be some repercussions and consequences. Disrespect and lies, I don't tolerate. I still have a 0 to 1,000 with that. People pleasing and excessive need to please others, often at the expense of one's own well-being. Giving somebody your car knowing that they ain't gonna put no gas in it. They never put gas in there. Loss of identity, neglecting one's own needs and desires to maintain harmony. You'll rather please them and for them to argue, or for them to be mad at you. I say you don't want to handle conflict. Hey, Miss Nydia, how are you, love? I haven't seen you in a while. You don't want to have conflict. All right, so what does unprocessed trauma look like? It could mean you're holding on to intense feelings like sadness, fear, or anger that appear suddenly or too large, too long. You'll have somebody go off the hook for just something small. And that scares people. I know you guys know what I'm talking about when we're saying extreme anger. The guy, when he was told he could not light his blunt in Chick-fil-A, the staff person asked him, "So you can't light that in here? She just works at Chick-fil-A. You can't light that in here." And what did this young man do? Cussed her out, tried to yank her from behind the counter. And when he was told to leave because he was going to call the cops, this person left out of the Chick-fil-A and start shooting. That's the extreme anger. So what happened to him as a child? A lot of people say, Kim, you can't put everybody in that category because he went off the hook like that. Or when you're in the supermarket and there's a lot of people in the supermarket, like it was just a lot of people in every single supermarket in Philadelphia because we had that big snow. I told my husband, please, babe, we got to go on Thursday because we go on Friday or any other day is going to be a problem. And when we went on Thursday, we're both hotheads, but we both been saved and touched by our Lord and Savior. I gave my husband some blackberries to put in the cart. While he was putting in the cart, I guess the container opened. I didn't know. I was still, in the produce aisle getting some stuff. And he picked things, the blackberries out of the cart up, but he didn't pick the ones up off the floor. He told me this after we didn't already pay for our food, and we were walking out the door. And I'm like, why you got that look on your face? And he said, the lady, she just looked at me with this nasty look. And I said, well, what do you mean? He explained the blackberries fell out the cart, and he was picking them up, and the ones that was on the floor, I guess she was like, why you ain't gonna pick them up? Who gonna eat the ones off the floor, miss? Like, really? And she gave him a look. And he said, she better be glad I know the Lord, because I was going to give her the business. And I told him, I'm glad you know the Lord too, because if you would have gave her the business, that means I would have had to give her the business too. Respect and lying. So those intense feelings, we can't cope when situations happen. We're very impulsive. Hence, I'm going to go back to our Eagles player. When Dak spit on him or spit at him or spit on the floor, however you want to play it. I'm from Philly. If something coming out your mouth and it look like spit, that means you spitting at me. We going to have a problem. Now, I wouldn't spit back on you. I'm going to snatch you real quick. Save the knot. So my man Davis spit on him. I was like, oh, Lord mercy. Oh, my goodness. Two men going through something like that. But it was an impulsive reaction. Because everybody knows you don't spit on no one. My grandma used to say, you don't even spit on a dog. And she ain't like animals. Those intense feelings. Again, the trouble was falling asleep and staying asleep. Your mind is racing. It's either you're worrying about some things that you can't control, or you're afraid that that certain thing that happened to you is going to continue to happen, that nobody can save you. No one is protecting you. You're having those nightmares and flashbacks of the incident. What happened? What transpired? So you don't want to sleep. You don't want to fall asleep. Now, I know I had in here, how can you, okay, that's the last little paragraph. How can you help children? Again, talking to your child, checking in with your kids. And this is every day, because something happens every day. Something's on social media every day. They hear stuff on these school buses. They hear stuff when they get into school, and you think they don't know. Check in with your child every single day. I did it. We ate at the table every day. And when cell phones came out, put the cell phones down. Everybody, and we do that. When my girls come over for our family dinner, it's been 3 months, we haven't had one, but when they come over for our family dinner, all my daughters and all my kids, ain't no cell phones. We talking. We're talking, we're vibing, we're playing games, because they grew up with that. Sat around the table and everybody ate, there was no phones. It's just me and my husband now. So me and my husband, when we sit there, we may look at, the news, but we ain't on our phones. Communication will help you understand what's going on in your house, because there's stranger danger in your home. Some kids getting bullied by their siblings in the home. Mom may have a significant other, and it's not the child's father, and there might be some resentment there in the home. Child may be getting bullied at school. Mom don't know. Child may be having difficulty at school, seeing, hearing, maybe dyslexic. You don't know, because you're not talking to your children. You must talk to your kids. And I'm like, at 4 years old, if they're in pre-K, start talking to your kids, because they're not just going from your peaceful environment. They're now going out into the world. Now, be patient. That's the most thing I ask for God every morning. God, let me have patience for myself, and let me have patience to love and see your people the way you see your people. Be patient, non-judgmental, be very supportive, whatever that looks like to you. Active listening means listening and not listening to respond. Validate their feelings. If they're telling you that they're mad or they're upset, they feel hurt, and you're the cause, you can't change the way someone feels. Validate it. I'm sorry that you feel that way. How can I help you and us in this relationship get back to where you can feel safe and heard and loved and appreciated? Even if you don't feel as though you harmed or hurt that person, validate their feelings, because again, you cannot tell someone how they feel. Sometimes I'm hot, sometimes I'm cold. My heat is on 77 in my house, and I have a small heater in my room. My husband like, you cold? Yes, turn it on, please. I'm cold. I'm cold. And he be over here sweating, and I'm looking at him like, you can turn it off in a minute. I can't tell my husband that he's not hot. I don't feel what he feels. Got to compromise. Respect their need for space. Respect their need for space. You can table things. If you're not agreeing with the person, listen. We're raising our voices right now. Our tones are getting up a little, a little loud. We're getting nowhere. Let's agree to disagree right now. Let's try to come back when we're able to and talk this thing out if we can. Because you're going back and forth with each other, no one's listening. If you throw a ball at a wall with force and you keep throwing the ball at the wall with force, it's going to come back and it's going to hurt you. It's the same thing when we're going back and forth with somebody. You're hurting them and they're hurting you. Encourage them to seek professional help. That it's okay with being okay? No, it's not. Because if you're okay with it, you're never going to seek professional help because it's normal to you. You shouldn't be mad at the whole world for something that happened that you're not even ready to talk about. But the people in your lives are suffering from it. And you keep saying, ain't nothing wrong with me. Ain't nothing wrong. And I keep telling people, if you get out of one relationship and you get to another relationship, even though you're with a different person, different circumstances, different weight, different height, different smell, whatever you're running from is going to come right back to you. It's a continuous cycle. It happens. That's the same thing with sin. The same thing with sin. If you keep sinning, you ain't going nowhere but down. So encourage people to get professional help, be it whatever that looks like to them. They can get pastoral counseling. They can get life coaching. They may have to go into a substance rehab place. They may want to do trauma therapy. They may want to do art therapy. They may want to go, to get anger management. Whatever that looks like to that person, encourage them to get help. Listen, I'm a mental health advocate. I'm a professional mental health advocate, but I have my own therapist. Because I have my own problems. When I'm listening to other problems, I don't want to bring my problems onto their problems. Transference. I have a therapist. I see him twice every 2 weeks. I encourage myself to seek professional help. And I take myself to the Lord and I leave myself at the altar. It helps. It helps keep me grounded. It helps me to know that I am a person, that I'm a human being. I'm not Superman. I have feelings. I go through things. I need to talk to someone as well because I still have some things in my past that I'm still dealing with. Again, I don't know how I got the burn on my hand, on my feet. My mom had one story. My brother had one story. I just can't remember that it happened. I just know I got the scars. Create a safe environment. for your children, for yourself, and even if you're an adult, you can create that safe environment. At my house is the peacefulest house you can come to. Ain't no drama here. Ain't no drama coming here. I used to, before I was married, never lock my door because I wish somebody would come up in my crib and take my peace away. Peace is priceless. Your environment has to be peaceful for you. If you're in a toxic environment, if you're in an environment that is so it's chaotic and it's damaging, you're not in a good place unless you create that space in your room. You can create that space. Now I will tell you, be careful with your teenagers. Again, with the privacy. They'll close their doors. You want them, you're thinking they need privacy, but they're shutting themselves out of the world. They're going through something and you don't even know it because their door always closed. They're creating a safe place, but they're also creating a coffin because they're in there and they're not talking to no one and they're trying to deal with this thing on their own. And a lot of the kids don't want to talk about what they're going through. Puberty, trying to build friends, trying to build good character, trying to identify of who they are, what they are, and what they want to be in life. And then incorporate that into getting with a good connection with friends and family and school and future. My grandson about to be 15. He was writing down last year when we was having the vote about minimum wage in Philadelphia. He said, y'all still make $7.25? I said, well, I don't make, but I used to work for $7.25 20-something years ago. That's what we made. And I said, well, some places of employment went up to $10. And he said, Nene, he took it and he wrote down everything. He said, I can't live off of this. Because Google is everything, right? You get your phone, you can Google what how much is a 2-bedroom apartment, then how much is a house for mortgage, and what you're going to make at a job, because it's all in the DOS book. The DOS is the book that they have all employment jobs or statuses and what their job descriptions is and what you get paid. They need to change it because it needs to be updated. And he said, I'm not going to be able to live like and make it. What am I going to do? And he was worried about what I'm going to go to school for. How is this going to help me? Student loans, mortgage, rent, insurance for a car. I'm like, just wait. You don't deal with them adult problems now. Just know that your mom and your dad work and your grandma got you. So we don't know what kids go through. And so I told him, I said, listen, your door be closed. I want to give you privacy. My door is closed. I want you to give me privacy. But crack your door. If you crack your door, he know I'm going to come in and knock in. I'm going to knock on it and come in. Hey, how you doing? I'm going to sit down on the bed. I'm going to talk with you. I can't do that if your door is closed. And I want you to come and feel like I have an open door policy. My door is cracked. You can come and knock on it and you can come on in. You can talk to me. You can talk to my husband. And then I asked him, can you at least come out of your room? Because we don't even see you. You in school Monday through Friday. When you come home Friday, you right in the room with the door closed, playing your PlayStation till wee hours in the morning. So how do you prevent the unprocessed or the hidden cries with untreated trauma or untreated childhood trauma? Talking to your children, paying attention to their feelings, listening to them, bonding with them, setting boundaries, setting consequences. If you hear something from your child, believe them first. Believe them first. We dealt with physical abuse. That's part 1. Oh Lord, let us part two is probably going to be on emotional and psychological abuse, which is hard to prove, but it is out there. Going to be part two, emotional and psychological abuse. Be careful with the words you say out your mouth. Cursed words. I think I did a show on that prior, and then part three will be on inappropriate touching and sexual abuse, untreated, and children who become adults. Hey, David. I love this subject because I like to educate, but I also wanted to let people know that there's a lot of people out there hurting, adults that's hurting. I will put some resources in the comments of the chat. Again, if you want to talk to me or reach out, talk to me, just message me. I am trying to get my business line and my personal line to connect. It's very hard right now because I have a city operated phone and they want it encrypted, and I'm not doing all that with my phone. So I'm trying to get them to connect um, one on the same plan. So again, that Thursday thing from Thursday from 6 to 9, you can call me, we can chat. Just let me get their phone line up, and that'll happen. Hopefully by maybe the end of this month, because it's only 28 days in this month, that will happen. So people can get in contact with me. You can hear a voice. But for now, if you're having any issues, problems, any questions that you want to ask me that you couldn't ask me on the live, just message me. And again, I look at these messages every single day. Okay, guys, that is it. It's 10 o'clock. I went over my time for about 30 minutes, which is okay. It's a great show. Love talking to you guys. I will see you next Wednesday. You guys have a safe night. This is Kimball. I'm a trap therapist, and you have tuned into the Trap Lounge. Have a good night, people. And stream.